rock and roll. Okay, it's not too far from here.
One little hype music.
Everyone's ready to go. So this is Eagle Rock Loop, a 3-day, 26.8 mile hiking trail outside Langley, Arkansas that leads you right back where you started. It's actually a combination of the Athens Big Fork Trail, the Viles Branch Horse Trail, and the Little Missouri Trail. It's even kind of shaped like Arkansas. Anyway, Eagle Rock Loop was developed along old wagon roads and a 100-year-old postal route through the southwestern portion of the Ouachita National Forest. There's no telling who's traveled this path over the years. The forest keeps its secrets. All I knew was that it was Friday, so we took the day off work to drive to Arkansas and see what this backpacking thing was all about.
I'm not coach on this trip.
So how do you even start something like this? One step at a time, right? You get out of the car and start walking. There were 10 of us in total, mostly neighbors and beer league soccer teammates in our 30s and 40s with varying levels of fitness. See these white rectangles here? That means you're going the right way. But in a forest made almost exclusively of oak, pine, and maple trees, they don't always stand out. Half these guys had backpacking experience, some on this very trail. But the rest of us just borrowed or bought the stuff they told us to, a backpack, beef jerky, extra socks. And collectively, we'd never carried a 30-pound sack on each of our backs over the rivers, up and down the mountains, and across an entire weekend. And our first order of business was a 700-foot climb up Brush Heap Mountain on a 30 to 40% incline. Biggest climb of the trip, hands down. And it came right out of the gate. After 30 minutes and about a mile into it, we reached the top.
Yeah, I was not ready for that. So that's the steepest one we got?
Yeah.
Chex Mix, Trail Mix. I'm talking about.
Then it's back to the trail. At some point, you'll get into some taller grasses and might have to step over the aftermath of the most recent storm. That's the thing. You can assume the trail will change from month to month, depending on the weather and season. You'll probably never see the same trail twice.
Hey, puppies.
And you're never really alone.
Hey, guys.
There's a good chance you'll run into strangers and their pets. Just by being here, on the same trail, at the same time, there's this shared, unspoken feeling of going through something.
Good luck to you.
What's up? Thanks, you too.
Who knows what kind of wildlife you'll see? Stick bugs, green bugs. Not sure if this is a salamander or a newt, but all around you there's stuff going on. Just 1 hour into it, we saw pretty fresh-looking black bear poop. Droppings. Whatever.
We're climbing up and out of this VISTA.
After 2.5 miles, we reach our second peak of the day. This is the lookout point the entire loop is named after. Once you're at the top, just veer west for a minute, and you'll know when to stop. park where we did, at the West Trailhead, and walk south down the Athens Big Fork Trail, you'll eventually have to make a hard left at the junction where it meets the Viles Branch Horse Trail. So you're going to want to make a left here. Stay on the trail, just make a left, and you're good. And we went right.
I don't remember a hill. Hey, JD. Yeah. So.
Walked the wrong way for about 10 minutes before realizing it. Or they realized it. I certainly didn't. Who knows how long I would have kept walking.
We're all saying hi.
Nevertheless, we were back on the trail.
That sounds about right. That's where we're at.
Which way do we go, George?
So we're right here.
We crossed a lot of streams that day. Or the same stream 10 times, not really sure. But 30 minutes later, we finally found one big enough to drink from.
First thing you gotta do is take your shoes off.
Yeah, you can try to cross with your shoes on, and more power to you. Most of us just didn't want to risk walking around in wet socks this early in the trip. But it wasn't early in the day. In fact, we were getting pretty close to camp.
This is where we slept last time.
That's so cool.
So Andrew and JD went further to see if we can get an open spot away from these guys.
So we walked a little further, hugging the riverbank along what they call the winding stair. And eventually, we found the perfect little spot to set up shop for the night.
That's your single tent? It's like pretty much one person, Randall?
It's kind of like a 1.5.
I cracked this off the side of the mountain. Perfect tool. Go to the rescue.
Safety.
Head under. 1, 2, 3, head under. Yeah.
It'll balance out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I filter mine and I'm boiling.
Never got the sag. I used to just get it to boiling point, nothing with it. You go get the water so I can put some more in there.
I thought for a second, like maybe we just go up and over this ridge, and then when
Like,
we
you
kept
know
going
what?
up,
I had the same thought in my head. Was like,
Did yours already boil?
literally the whole inside of the tent was a ball of fire for like a flash second.
It didn't do anything to the tent?
No. It,
And they both looking at each other after, they're like, you
But
okay?
I mean, we were like,
No, you're right.
it was like seriously a ball of fire everywhere in the tent.
So I was walking back home and I see a golden horse.
What?
I thought it was a horse, right? It was bright. So I was like, it's a horse, it's a horse. But no, it was just a bright light coming towards me.
There was a shadow figure over me, and he was like hands behind his back and like looking like that.
Oh my
Be unbroken, by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Woo.
Rise and shine. Same thing as last night. Heat up that water, make your coffee with it, eat your dehydrated biscuits and gravy, and recount the adventure from yesterday. We took a couple hours to ease into the morning and get packed up because we had a long day ahead.
And then we're in this neck of the woods. So today we're going to work our way down the river that way, around the corner, up to the parking lot, and up to another parking lot.
Pretty spot on. That is where we camped, and today would be the longest leg of the trip by far. About 10 miles up the Little Missouri Trail before moving west back over the top of the loop. Same trail, all day. So let your food settle and get your mind right, because once you get started, there's really no turning back. Everybody ready?
It's cold, right?
We had to cross the river immediately, like 1 minute into it. If you aren't awake by now, that'll probably do the trick. So okay, let's put our hiking boots back on and try that again. Hopefully we don't have to cross again for at least another 15 minutes. Sure is pretty though.
Our goal is to get up here tonight.
That second parking lot's a good
If anybody wants to quit, this is your place.
right?
It took an hour to get here. The two brothers talked about where the trail might lead us today based on their past experiences.
Somewhere like Little Missouri Falls. That's what I was talking about. I've been to Little Missouri Falls.
Yeah.
Jared had a gnarly blister, but he didn't complain about it whatsoever. Did you, Jared?
No.
You just know he had to feel that every step he took. And with another 8.5 miles left on today's hike alone, it's a lot of steps. I mean, starting the moment we left this trailhead, we'd have to walk another mile, uphill, climbing 400 feet at a 30% incline.
Okay, let me get some water real quick.
You're saying that was not the upper portion?
Part of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not long though. Albert's Pike is up here.
Follow Jesus.
So we kept climbing, getting shorter and shorter of breath. But in those moments especially, you can't help but enjoy the view. A few minutes ago, David mentioned Albert Pike, and he was right. It was just ahead, right down this hill. Albert Pike was a real person, and there's a recreation area named after him on the east side of the loop. It was 3.7 miles from where we started the day, with another 6+ miles till we'd finally settle on a campsite for the night. Of course, we didn't know that at the time, but ignorance is bliss. So we're zigzagging our way down the hill to Albert Pike, descending back and forth along the switchbacks till we got to the parking lot below. And before we even got out of the forest, a man in his truck started talking to Joe. He said a big storm was headed this way.
What time is it going to begin?
This might be our last break before the bottom falls out.
You guys on a break?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
In 2010, a storm swept through this exact spot, and the ensuing floodwater took the lives of 20 people. The creeks and rivers can fill up so fast, and if you don't see it coming, you might not stand a chance. So we only stayed long enough to eat a quick lunch and double check our inventory in case of any potential weather-related events. On day one, you're riding the high of venturing into the heart of one of America's national forests. On day 3, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and your goal is within reach. But day 2 is the meat and potatoes of this thing. Because the day 1 high has completely left your system and been replaced with an empty stomach, aching feet, and now whatever anxiety comes with a literal cloud hanging over your head, leaving you wondering if you're one torrential downpour away from death. Okay, no one saw that, you're good, just play it cool. But for real, that could have been bad. Because today we were following the meandering turns of the Little Missouri River, which is cool, it's beautiful. But you're doing it along some pretty steep cliffs with rocky, uneven surfaces and sudden drop-offs. I mean, right here you can just see how steep that is down to the riverbed. I got a little carried away filming and took my eyes off the road for a minute. If I hadn't caught myself, it would have been a long way down, an even longer way back up.
I'll hop right here real quick, thank you. Fill up.
Alrighty, just gotta cross this creek one at a time. Here we go. David, you go first. Nice job.
Get it? Got it.
JD, your turn.
You got it. Damn it.
That's a bummer, but if it happens, you might as well go all in. It's alright, JD. You're not the only one.
Just soaked my foot. It's completely soaked.
Oh well, no time to feel sorry for yourself. Gotta get back on the trail before the storm hits. Speaking of which, a few of these guys hiked Loop earlier in the year, back in the spring, and they ran into trouble right here along the Little Missouri River.
Yeah, it was like I tried to get in right here, and it just immediately was. You can tell that the water would have been over my waist by the time I got to here. It was flowing really fast through here.
None of us wanted to deal with that. Hard enough as it is. So it's really pretty simple. If it's gonna rain, we gotta move.
really glad we were set up before the rain just to get our bags protected.
You're gonna put it at like additional cover?
I was like, you need to at least ride him back, you know?
And then go heavier day pack and go all the way up to the top.
Random. You see my stick?
Yeah, it's good.
We made miles today, guys.
How many miles do you think you got?
10.5.
Really?
Yeah.
How many miles?
10.5.
Dried out pretty quick. Okay.
So
I was impressed.
last year I was in wet boots and wet socks pretty much all day for 3 days.
Well, David didn't care.
Yeah, we all were.
It didn't negatively affect him.
We stopped carrying. Joe started carrying and then stopped carrying.
You couldn't care last year.
Hey, go home if you're going by the mill. Bridges wash out, bottom of the hill. Big creeks up in little creeks level. Fly my coat like a double shovel. Stay all night, stay a little longer. Dance all night, dance a little longer. Pull off your coat, throw it in the corner. Don't say why you won't stay a little longer.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna go in the battle with a rifle in one hand and a good book in the other.
Been so lonesome, I wanna go home. So kick off your Dante shoes, your grandfather and me. See up on the shore, let me go home. Now to go home.
Para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia. Una poca de gracia y aquí, allá arriba y arriba. Allá arriba y arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré.
All right, the four of you, while I've got you all on camera, Jack, I'm gonna own it on you. Is there anything you'd like to say to viewers back home?
Sometimes you just gotta challenge yourself and see what happens. And if you're there, you're there. So it's been a good expression of that.
Thank you very much. Randall Ortiz, tell them in the news.
Well, we finally got our storm last night. It was a big one too. I guess we were on the good side of the mountain though, because it didn't wash us out. It was still sprinkling, but we didn't have time to wait. Just get up, fill your water, and start getting ready. Figure we'd skip breakfast for now, get a couple miles into the trail, and then eat later. We had a hike to finish.
Getting all packed up.
Eight or 9 miles apparently. This is gonna be tough. My bro's breaking. Trying to keep the camera from flying. Here we go.
Yeah, David went through a lot of sticks on this trip. The storm last night gave him plenty to choose from. Not sure if it's more about having the perfect stick
How's that one?
Good one.
or just the search for one. At this point, we'd hiked about 20 miles, with 6.5 more to go. And we were starting to get hungry. But first, we had to cross the stream. Well, it's not really a stream. It's the Little Missouri River, again. And if you can't find a way across, you gotta make one.
Wow.
So you got your camera in one hand, and your Union Jack Made in China umbrella in the other, obviously. And it's slowly deteriorating. But it's the only thing protecting this camera, so you can't ditch it. And besides...
Does anyone want to eat anything, or... I mean, that's almost half of our day of hiking.
So we just good? Which half?
Well, the easier
Easy
half.
half.
But it's 4, that was 4 miles.
But you're saying the parking lot deal would be...
After some initial pushback, logic did prevail, and we decided, yeah, let's eat.
Want to fill this up?
Don't have a water bottle? I thought y'all just had like granola bars.
So we took a nice 45-minute break here, because we were about to enter the home stretch, and we knew this was our last chance to recharge. Well, some of us knew more than others.
Where do you think we are right now?
Right here. We just did this little section right there.
Okay.
We gotta get down to the car.
Where we parked? Right.
Parked right there.
Okay.
And now that we were back on the Athens Big Fork Trail, our final challenge was to scale a series of summits, one right after another. That's what the guys refer to as the 4 peaks. They're not the tallest mountains in the world, but on your third day, when you're running on fumes, it starts to feel like it. And even if they were, we made it this far. What's a few more inclines?
So when did the actual first peak start? No? Okay.
Please tell me it's the top pick 3.
This is number 3.
Okay, one more.
Ooh, knees.
Nice. This is the last, that's the top of the last peak? Wow.
Downhill from here.
4 peaks.
Knock that one out.
I'm like, ugh, that hurts. Ugh. Uphill, I'm fine. Downhill is like when I start hurting.
Yeah, downhill is painful.
So what's the takeaway? What did we learn? I don't know. At the time, I'd say something similar. Yeah, the downhill parts are harder on your knees than you'd think. Even without a medical history, you will have less cartilage at the end than when you started. But it's been 2 years since we went on this trip, and so much has changed since then. Probably not in the forest per se, but in each of our personal worlds and the one at large.
Parking lot's right up there.
We've all gotten older. Technology's more advanced, with a tighter grip on everyday life. Seems harder than ever to get away and get off the grid. And once we were, of course it was worth it. Had a great time.
Hell yeah.
But now it's just a memory. Looking back on all this footage, sometimes I don't even feel like it's me I'm watching. Yeah, we got back to the car. That was our stated goal, but in no way does that encompass what we actually went through out there.
Never been so happy to see a pickup truck in my life.
So I guess just try to make some memories if you can.
Alright, Andrew.
Because when you get there, wherever it is you're going, if nothing else, that's what you'll have.
Oh my goodness.
That worked pretty well.
I don't know if I remember all the lyrics.
A little faster.
I stole my money for the $2 bill.
Oh yeah.
$2 bill on a $2 bill. I stole my money for the $2 bill. I'm on my long journey home. Sorry. Dark and it's raining. I want to go home. I want to go home, Lord. I want to go home. It's dark and it's raining. I want to go home. I'm on my long journey home. I'm homesick and lonesome. I'm feeling kind of blue. Feeling kind of blue, Lord. I'm feeling kind of blue.
There you go.
Homesick and lonesome. Feeling kind of blue. I'm on my long journey home. The black smokes are rising.
They're coming.
Surely is a train. Surely is a train, Lord. It surely is a train. The black smokes are rising. It surely is a train. Surely is a train. Surely is a train.
No, seriously, is there a train I can...